Tea is something many of us drink several times a day without a second thought. And because it feels so ordinary, we rarely stop to ask how it fits into our health as we get older. But small daily habits add up. The strength of your tea, how many cups you drink, what's in the bag, and what the box encourages you to assume can all affect sleep, digestion, and how you feel by the end of the day. Some brands make this easier to get wrong without you realizing it. This isn't about panic or giving anything up. It's about making sure a routine drink isn't quietly working against you. Today, we're looking at 7 UK tea brands you should never buy. Let's start with number 7, Thai Fu. A lot of people reach for this one without thinking. The hand goes to the shelf, the box goes in the basket, and the choice is done before the brain catches up. That isn't always because the cup is great. It's often because the brand has been in the house for years and feels familiar in a way newer boxes do not. Thai Fu lands on this list because habit can hide a simple health issue: how much tea you end up drinking when the brew feels weak. When a cup does not taste full, people often fix it in easy ways. They use 2 bags, they leave it in longer, they make another cup soon after. None of that sounds dramatic, but repeated across a day and then across a week, it can quietly push caffeine intake higher than people realize. For some people, that means more restlessness. For others, it can mean lighter sleep, an uneasy stomach, and late tea creeping into the evening. The point is not that this brand is dangerous. The point is that weak satisfaction can lead to overuse, and overuse is where small daily habits start causing trouble. If a box looks cheap but it takes more bags to get the cup you want, you may drink more tea and more caffeine while also spending more than expected. If you buy this one and truly enjoy a single bag, the issue may not be your kettle, your mug, or your milk. It may be the box. Another reason this matters is timing. People often think only coffee affects sleep, but tea can stack through the day in a quieter way. A weak morning cup becomes a stronger mid-morning cup, then another after lunch, then one more because the first ones never really hit the spot. By evening, the total can be much higher than planned. If your routine keeps drifting in that direction, stop blaming the day and look at the tea itself. A box you buy from habit can change your routine without you noticing, and that is why this first warning is more serious than it looks. It's not about one bad cup, it's about months of small adjustments that slowly become your normal and are rarely questioned at all daily. That first warning is easy to miss, but the next one is more dangerous in a different way because the name itself can switch your attention off.
Number 6, PG Tips. This is the kind of box people recognize from across the aisle. The color, the logo, the long history, the feeling that if it is everywhere, it must be a safe choice. That thinking is exactly why it belongs here. Not because the product is the worst thing on the shelf, but because big recognition can create blind trust. PG Tips is a concern for one reason that does not get enough attention. Familiarity can make shoppers skip checks. When a brand becomes part of routine life, people stop reading. They stop checking details on the pack and how the tea tastes compared with what it costs. That matters because tea is one of those things people buy on autopilot. If a product changes slowly over time, most shoppers will not notice in 1 week. They only notice months later, after spending more money and feeling the cups are not as satisfying. By then, the habit is doing the work, not the product. There is also a health angle in that trust shortcut. When people trust the front of the box too much, they can assume all bagged tea is basically the same and all tea is automatically simple. But some buyers care about bag material, flavored versions, and sourcing standards. Blind trust makes those checks disappear. A famous brand can be usable and still be the wrong choice for someone who wants more control over a daily drink. The concern is what happens when branding turns your attention off. If you buy this one, treat it like any other box. Read it, compare it, taste it against something else. If the name is doing more work than the cup, that is your answer. And there is another reason this can become a health issue over time. When people trust a well-known box too much, they often miss better choices that fit their body and routine more closely. They stick with the same thing even when it starts causing late-day jitters. even when they need less caffeine, or even when they want clearer packaging information. The problem is not one ingredient. The problem is a shopping pattern that stops adapting while your needs do change. A famous label can be concerning than a weaker one. It can keep a habit in place after it stops serving you well. Now the issue moves from trust to everyday use, and the next box shows how a simple money saver can quietly change what you consume. If this is the kind of clear, sensible advice you want more of, subscribe. These videos are all about helping you make better choices with everyday food and drinks.
Number 5. Tetley. Many kitchens have a box like this sitting in plain sight because it feels dependable. It is common, easy to find, and often looks like a sensible middle choice. That is why it deserves a closer look. The problem here is not hype. The problem is what happens after the tea hits the mug. Tetley makes this list because of the false economy problem. On paper, the box can look fair. In daily use, some people end up using more to get the same result. One bag feels light, so they squeeze the bag, leave it in longer, or drop in a second one. That sounds small, but small repeated choices change both cost and intake. When you have to work harder to get a cup, the routine changes. You may drink more cups because each one feels less satisfying. You may make stronger brews later in the day. You may add extra sugar because the tea base tastes thin. Some people will say their cup is perfect, fine, but if you are adjusting the brew and never quite happy, do not ignore that. The box may be training you to spend more and consume more while thinking you are staying moderate. There is a second issue hidden in that pattern: timing and appetite. A flat cup can lead people to pair it with stronger snacks just to make the break feel complete. Biscuits, sugary spreads, or extra sweeteners start showing up because the drink itself is not carrying enough flavor. Then the tea habit quietly becomes a sugar habit as well. That is not the same for everyone, but it happens often enough to matter. The simple test is easy. Make one cup the way you do and ask yourself whether you are enjoying tea or managing it. If the answer is managing it, the low price may be costing you more than the label suggests over a month of daily use. A product that needs fixing is not simple, and friction spreads into the routine. What comes next is not mainly about price at all. It's about premium image, quiet assumptions, and the way a polished box can lower your guard.
Number 4. Twinings. There is a certain box on the shelf that gives off a polished look right away. It suggests care, quality, and a step above the ordinary. But the concern starts when that same premium image carries over to everyday tea, and people stop asking whether they are really getting more. Twinings is here, especially for standard everyday style lines, because premium branding can create a health halo without saying a health claim at all. People see a more refined box and assume the tea must be cleaner, better sourced, or somehow better for them than cheaper options. The issue is the assumption. When shoppers pay more and check less, they can miss the basics that matter. They may ignore the ingredient list on flavored versions. They may not compare how the tea performs in the cup. They may assume a gentler taste means higher quality rather than a lighter brew. They may also miss that some premium-looking lines are built more around image and convenience than around leaf quality. The health concern here is subtle but real. People who think they have made the better choice are less likely to question what they are drinking every day. That makes them easier to sell a story to, and once a story takes over, label reading usually stops. This brand can make excellent products in some ranges, and that is why this point matters. A strong name can hide weak decisions inside the same brand family. If you buy from it, do not buy the logo, buy the product, after checking the box. Another thing to watch is how people use premium-feeling products to relax their standards. They think, I paid more, so the checking is already done. That can be true for some items in a shop, but it is a bad rule for tea. A higher price does not tell you bag material, leaf grade, or whether a flavored blend is mostly what you think it is. It mainly tells you what the brand believes it can charge.
If a box makes you feel confident before you even read it, slow down. Confidence from design is not the same as confidence from information, and those two get mixed up easily with tea. The concern is not one ingredient, but the way premium image can lower your guard daily tea there. Next, we leave the premium shelf feeling and look at a plain everyday choice that can reshape the rest of your routine more than people expect. Number 3. Tesco Original Tea. This is the kind of pick many people make when they want to keep the grocery bill under control and move on. It sits in a place most shoppers pass every week, and it looks like the practical option. That simple image is exactly what makes it easy to overlook. Tesco Original Tea lands on this list because the concern is not just low price, it is low expectations. Once people decide a product is good enough, they stop paying attention to what it is doing to the rest of the habit. If the cup tastes flat, they brew longer. If that still does not work, they add another bag. If the tea feels dull, they sweeten it or drink more cups searching for a proper one. There's another concern here. People often confuse cheap with low risk. They're not the same thing. A low price helps if the product does the job. If it leaves you adjusting, topping up, and repeating, then the budget choice may be driving higher intake and lower satisfaction at the same time. This is not a warning to avoid all store brands. Some are very good. This is a reminder to stop assuming a standard label is harmless because it is plain. Packaging can still hide a poor fit for your daily routine. This matters for health-minded shoppers because routine drinks add up faster than occasional treats. People count cakes and fried foods. They do not always count the extra cups made because the first one was thin, or the extra sugar stirred in to make an ordinary brew feel worth drinking. Over time, that can become a fixed pattern built around a product that was chosen because it looked practical. The easy fix is to compare honestly. If a budget tea makes you use more of everything around it, then it is not the simple choice it first appears to be. And once a habit like that settles in, people tend to defend it because the box looks sensible, even when the result says otherwise daily. The next one may surprise people who like the taste, because this is not about the cup itself, it is about the bag, the materials, and what buyers think they solved.
Number 2. Yorkshire Tea. For many people, this is the one they defend. The routine feels set, and the brand has earned a lot of loyalty. That is why this part needs to be said carefully. The main concern here is not flavor. It is what some buyers assume about the tea bag itself and what happens after it is used. Yorkshire Tea appears on this list for people trying to reduce plastic exposure or wanting clear disposal choices. The company has spoken openly about moving away from oil-based plastic in tea bags and using plant-based material in parts of the bag. That sounds simple when you hear it fast. It is not always simple in real life. Plant-based plastic is still plastic. Some materials can break down under the right industrial composting conditions, but many homes do not have those conditions. So people buy the box thinking they solved one problem, when in practice they may still be dealing with a different version of it. Why does that matter for health-focused buyers? Because the choice was often made to reduce concern, not create confusion. When packaging language sounds clear, but the real answer depends on local systems, small print, and exact materials, shoppers may overestimate how clean the product is. It is a warning about assumption. If bag material matters to you, this is one of those brands you should check carefully, line by line and pack by pack, instead of relying on the general story around it. Another reason this matters is heat. Tea bags sit in hot water, so people who are trying to reduce contact with certain materials often pay close attention to bag construction. If that is your goal, broad eco-language is not enough. You need exact wording and the exact limits. Can it go in home compost? Only industrial compost? Is the string or seal made the same way? Many shoppers never ask these questions because the main message sounds good.
That is how a trusted brand can still end up on an avoid list. Not because it tastes bad, but because it can create too much confidence in buyers who need more precise answers than the front of the box gives. If your aim is to lower worry, unclear disposal and material details can do the opposite and keep the question hanging every day for some buyers. And now we get to the most sensitive problem of all, where the concern is not just tea, but the health meaning wrapped around it. Number 1. Pucker. Some products do not sell themselves as just a warm drink. They sell a feeling, a reset, a clean start, a calmer day. That sounds appealing, especially when life feels busy and you want something simple that seems helpful. But that is where a tea brand can cross from comfort into suggestion. Pucker is number 1 here because wellness language can make people trust tea for reasons that go beyond tea. It is about how easily health meaning can be wrapped around a tea bag. When a box hints at cleansing, balance, or body support, many people stop reading the product like food and start reading it like help. That changes behavior. They may drink it more often than planned. They may use it instead of fixing basic habits. They may ignore caffeine, herbs, or ingredients that do not suit them personally because the front of the box feels reassuring. That is the real concern. It is not that every blend is bad, it is that the marketing can become stronger than the label. And once that happens, buyers stop asking simple questions. What is actually in this? How much of each ingredient is here? Is this just a pleasant drink, or am I treating it like a promise? Some herbal teas can be enjoyable. Some people genuinely like these blends. But if you are buying a health story instead of checking ingredients and using common sense, that is when a tea box starts doing too much talking and the buyer starts doing too little checking. This matters because daily rituals are powerful. Once a product gets linked in your mind with feeling cleaner or fixing a hard week, it can become harder to judge it like a normal grocery item. You stop comparing price, stop checking the label closely, and stop asking whether the effect is from the tea, the pause, or simply the routine itself. The smarter approach is simple and boring, which is usually a good sign. Read the ingredients. Notice the words that promise a lot without saying much. Treat wellness language as marketing first, then decide whether the blend still makes sense for your cup and your body. I'm not saying tea is bad, I'm saying blind trust is a poor way to choose something you drink every day. A familiar name, a premium look, a wellness phrase, or an eco message can make a box feel safer than it really is for your needs. Before you buy, check the ingredients, check the bag material, notice how many cups you're actually drinking, and ask yourself whether the product is giving you tea or just a story. Small daily habits shape sleep, digestion, and sugar use more than most people realize. If this video helped, let me know in the comments which one surprised you the most and give it a like so more people see it. And if you want more clear, practical grocery breakdowns like this, subscribe and stay with me.